we're 6 of 9 right now, and talking to a few others. Like I said before, I want to make sure we do it the right way and get the right guys. Talk to a lot of guys, but I want to make sure I feel 100% certain the guys that I'm hiring.
You like the mix that you have?
I really do. We have a blend of young and older, more experienced, but all great teachers and all great men. So I really like where we are right now.
When you say you want to do it the right way, I mean, what, in your mind, what is the right way?
The right way is getting the right people in. And if it takes another couple days, then we'll take another couple days to get those other 3 guys in. But, I have a lot of names. It's not for a lack of names. It's making sure we get the right blend.
With the 6 plus you and assuming Kevin Maurice, you feel like you have enough to be able to keep up in recruiting here for the next month and do what you need to do as far as filling out the 2013 class?
Oh, absolutely. We have more than enough personnel to do the recruiting. There's, anywhere from 8 to 10 spots left. You got to be careful now that you don't get too many guys trying to get into the boat right now. So it's trying to balance the numbers.
How challenging is that to come into a situation like this and, when you have a month and a half to go and pretty good number of spots to fill and, you obviously want some pretty good players too.
Yeah, we took some time and, as a staff and evaluated the available players in the local states, this state and the local states. We took a day to do that, to make sure we watched the film. I think it's very important now that these 8 guys that we get have the academics that we need to have the integrity that we need to have, and also are able to play great college football to help us win championships. And when we first started evaluating the board, we had to make sure that the numbers, the academic numbers, were right, accurate, and so we making sure we recruit the right guys.
Any positions in particular of need here down the stretch, or?
I won't speak specifically about recruiting, but we're probably going to take one of each going down the stretch if we can, other than quarterback.
If you had not stayed at Kent State and just came to Purdue when they hired you, would you have your staff in place now? And did being at Kent State this long hold up some of the process?
No, I don't feel like I'm held up at all in the process. Like I said, I've talked to a lot of guys, and I have a stack of resumes. But my focus has been probably more 75% recruiting. I was out on the road 4 days last week in 4 different states. So my focus is 75% recruiting, 25% of filling the last couple guys on the staff. Now, those first couple guys were critical to get rolling with us, but I feel pretty good where we are.
Have you had any time to evaluate the current roster players at all?
No, not at all. We had our first team meeting on Sunday night. Tried to lay the groundwork for who we're going to be and what we're going to be. But in terms of evaluating our current players, I have not done that.
What was your message to the team that night?
Well, I think the big message is, first of all, is being accountable for everything that we do, and making sure that Purdue's no longer thought of as a middle team. And we need to rise to the top and stop being perceived as a team that's hanging in the middle.
You seem like you put a pretty big emphasis on the Midwest and recruiting. Is that about Midwest kids? Is that about fan interest, or just can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's about both. It's about getting those guys from these neighboring states that can bring fans into the stadium, but also they understand what it's like in the month of November, December, when you're playing for championships. It's a little tougher, a little colder, and they played it.
When you build a culture in a new program, does that culture kind of have to kind of mirror your geographical region at all? If that makes sense? Is there
No, that
something
makes
about
sense.
a Midwest kid that lends itself to what you want to build here?
Well, absolutely. I think that if you look at the Big Ten and what the rosters are comprised of, the majority of the rosters are comprised of, you're going to find most of the kids are from the Midwest, and I think there's a lot to be said about that.
Do you kind of consider Kent a rebuilding job? I guess how would you classify this job?
Again, this not evaluating your talent enough, but seeing a few clips here and there, there's enough talent, but you do have to change the way we think about things and to be able to win some of those close ball games that we lost last year. So it'll be a lot to do with the mindset of this football team when we start to work out together.
Darrell, we heard how you felt about being the head coach of Purdue in early December. Now, here we are about 6 weeks later. How do you feel about being the head coach of Purdue?
I love it here. It's been everything I thought it would be, and then a little bit more. The people have been phenomenal, and the support of everybody on campus. What can we do to make Purdue better? And that's what I've been hearing a lot. I couldn't ask for any better situation.
Really haven't had the chance to talk to you since you watched Purdue in the bowl games. Kind of what were your impressions of what you saw?
Well, there's a lot of notes that I took that day and from the bowl game. And there's some things that we're going to have to work on, and we'll do that.
Well, what was your conversation with Drew Brees and Kyle Orton and some of the others up there in the box like that day?
We were talking football. I asked those guys what was their favorite routes to throw. And so we went round and round in that. And we talked about protections and how we call things schematically. And that was great because those two guys are obviously very intelligent football-wise. And they're willing to do anything they can to help Purdue football.
They seemed to come away liking what they heard about potential offensive schemes and throwing the ball around a little bit. Did you get the impression that they liked sort of the message?
I think so. I thought we clicked pretty well. We've actually exchanged texts since then. And I'm looking forward to getting both those guys as well as other guys along back to help.
Darrell, when you said finding the right guy, the right people for your staff with the openings, is it not just how they'll work with you and for you, but also how they'll work with the other guys on the staff?
Oh yeah, that's so important. The staff chemistry, can never overlook that. We spend so many hours together that at 10 o'clock at night we got to all be on the same page and not getting after each other. But the chemistry is one of those values that you got to make sure you put everything into it.
Watching you down in Mobile, you seem really involved and hands-on with the offense. Did you have any role as a play caller or anything like that going forward here?
I can't turn that over completely. That's my background, and I love the whole chess match of it all. I like being in communication with the offensive coordinator. I'm going to hire an offensive coordinator. He's going to call the plays, but I will have my little input when we need to.
You had said at your first press conference that you're going to obviously look at your personnel before you determine your offensive style. What about defense? Do you have a preferred kind of style of play that you want to implement?
Well, we hired Coach Hudson on the defensive side of the ball, and he comes out of a 4-3 scheme and plays a lot of quarters coverage with the variation of a lot of other different things. But we'll plug guys in to where we think they fit into the scheme of things based on their ability.
What do you think of him? What do you think of Hud?
I spent some time and just love his personality and his energy and his passion for the game. And he's so excited to be here. And that's what I wanted when I'm looking at this staff, other than having guys that are going to be great mentors and great teachers and hold our guys accountable. I want guys that are dying to be at Purdue University. And that's critically important to me right now.
Well, can you talk about the guys you have hired and the connections that you have with them and how they all came about?
Yeah, defensively, Greg Hudson's a guy that was recommended by a guy on my previous staff. And I heard nothing but good things about him, so I got a chance to sit down in front of him and have him draw some things up and talk about some things. But I think he's going to be a great addition to the program. Obviously, John Haycock was my defensive coordinator at Kent State. And, we have a long relationship. We had actually played together at Muskingum College. Marcus Freeman was one of our linebackers at Ohio State, and I brought with me because he's a bright star in coaching profession. Connects extremely well with the players. Offensively, just our most recent hire was Jim Bowman, who was the offensive coordinator when I was at Ohio State. He was then left Ohio State, went to Boston College. I was able to get him. It's great addition to our staff. Jafar Williams was our running back coach, and he's bounced around a little bit, but another young coach that's going to be really special. The more and more he grows in this profession. Our wide receiver coach was a guy, came from Virginia Tech, Kevin Sherman, and I had known Kevin since I was at West Virginia. We had actually tried to hire him at West Virginia when I was there and was not able to get him, but he's been at Virginia Tech and Wake Forest and Ohio University and some of those other places has a national reputation of being a great teacher. And then, what am I forgetting? I think that's it. No.
I guess when you look at the other three positions, obviously you want an offensive coordinator, but how are the other two positions? What are you looking at? Specific positions for those coaches?
Yeah, I'm going to hire an offensive coordinator / quarterback coach. I'm going to hire a tight end coach, probably a recruiting coordinator, and a couple other things. He'll have a couple other different titles, and then I'll hire a defensive line coach.
How will you handle special teams?
It might be part of that tight end job. Moreover, each will have assigned a unit for each coach. We'll have 4 coaches assigned to the special teams here, with a special teams coordinator on top of those guys.
How will Greg coach? Will he be a walk-around coordinator?
No, I think we're going to have him actually coach the safeties and the nickels. That has not been finalized, but we went around and around about that. He's been a linebacker coach, played linebacker at Notre Dame, but we think we're going to leave Marcus where he is at the linebacker spot. We think he's going to coach from the back, from the top on down, from the safeties on down.
You pay extra special care to the wide receivers hire that you make with the coach, just because of your background?
I just want good coaches. Just good coaches.
Darrell, you've gone through this before, hiring a staff. Any similarities, any differences, and if so, is it even kind of, it made you raise your eyebrows because you were just doing this, 2.5 years ago?
The only difference is the timing of it all. I had the other staff hired pretty quickly, for whatever reason. But again, I'm taking my time with these last 3 or 4 hires that we're having to make sure that, we're 6 for 6 right now. I want to be 9 for 9 when it's all said and done. And that's the most important